Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to episode 37 of Direwolf20's Let's Play series. I want to do something that'll hopefully be a fun build today. I've got a bunch of stuff in my inventory and it's all going to go towards making something cool. I removed the wireless charger from my thing down there because what I'm working on, the wireless charger, it won't hurt, but it will get in the way a little bit, so you'll understand why in just a minute. So let's recap where we're at. As of last episode, we built a lot more power gen. We've got these nifty compression dynamos that are currently generating about 12 RF per tick. You can see them kind of, doing their best to maintain their power outputs and keep my base running for me. Thank you guys, you're doing a great job. Currently the base is using right around 84 RF per tick, so not a terribly bad amount. Lots of fuel backlogged in the system, so we're not wasting tons of energy producing more fuel, and we've got a pretty nice base going. I do still need to, and hopefully plan to today, add my ore processing because, wow, I've got a lot of ores to process, to my system downstairs here. You can kind of see it's ready, but not quite yet set. It's going to be real easy to do. I just haven't gotten around to it yet because I'm lazy. Today's episode, though, my quarry is currently powered by rocket fuel, which is great. I love the rocket fuel powered quarry. The one downside to it, though, is rocket fuel's not terribly expensive, but expensive enough in that I don't have a good automated source to get myself a bunch of redstone and gunpowder. So I'd like to be able to power this thing using the power from my base. Now, if I wanted to be real simple and boring about it, I could just tap into what's already a power transmitter here, the dimensional transceiver. But you know what? It can also transfer items and power and liquid and stuff too. And I'm having fun with this whole cart system. So I figured, wonder if there's a fun, nifty build way to go ahead and transport power from one location to another using the railcart system that I already have set up without having to make too many changes to it. The answer is yes. However, it's a little bit complicated to set up. No worries though, I'll come up with a good plan and it'll be fun. So that's kind of where I'm at today. So yeah, that's what we're going to work on right now. So I have a couple things I want to do. I decided to transfer redstone energy cells back and forth from the main base to the quarry. Sound fun? And I can always use this if I want to in another build sometime later down the line. It's just kind of a fun idea that I came up with. It's a little bit complicated though, and it does require some redstone trickery, which is why I've prepared a bunch of redstone stuff and some red alloy wires. So hopefully you guys will enjoy checking this out. Let's start. So first thing I'm going to need to do is charge my redstone energy cells here at my base. So why don't I pick out where I want my redstone charging station to be, and then we'll, go from there. All right, guys, I think I've picked out where I want to be. I'm just real quick. Let's see, put this in furnace mode, put one of these in here. One gets me 4 conduit binders. Just real quick teaching my AE system how to make more enhanced energy conduits for me. So you can see one of these yields 4 of these. Encode that pattern. So this is a pattern that's a crafting recipe. It's how to craft the binder composite. This is the encoded pattern. I've already taught the machines downstairs, let's see here, how to make the energetic alloys. Now I just have to teach the guy who smelts stuff directly how to make conduit binders. Sweet. So now if we go back upstairs here and we request something along the lines of more energy conduits, so let's say we wanted, I don't know, 10 more of them, right? So it's going to craft conduit binders, it's going to craft binder composite, it's going to craft energetic alloys. Well, it looks like it already has some of those available. Just hit start and you can see the crafting process start up. It's probably cooking up everything we need, and then we've got awesome. That is great. Gotta love it. All right, downstairs we go because I'm going to start sending some power over here. If I jump down into bat mode, let's continue down this path. Sure, why not? That's where I want to be. Cool. I'm going to run a power line over to here. And once again, this is more like just kind of a for fun build than anything else. Looks like we're probably going to want this to be the high-powered energy stuff. So what I'll do is just run this like so. We'll run him along here. There we go. And now this line can connect straight over to here. Cool. Let's go into Ender Mini form, so it'll be easier to navigate around. I love that the Ender Minis can fit in between the cables and the walls. That's like the greatest. All right, so the dimensional transceiver is set with the enhanced energy conduit. Everything's kind of doing its thing. We can finish fishing this out over here. We're probably going to need a little bit more energy conduit stuff, but I think we have enough at least to get the first part of this build down. Okay, back into bat mode so I can get out of here. There we go. Easy to get stuck sometimes. And here we go. So this is where I'm going to plant any redstone energy cells that I want to charge. And what I'm going to configure this guy for is we're going to close all the sides. We're going to say bottom is where you accept power. You can see it's already charged. The reason it's already charged is because of the wireless charger. It filled it up in my inventory. So I wasn't ready for that. We might need to do something about that later. But basically this room right here is going to automatically charge redstone energy cells for me and get ready to transfer them out to my quarry. That's at least the plan. Now there's a little bit of a trick that we're going to need to do in order to make this thing work. So for the time being, let's go get another cart with a chest in it so I can show you how this is going to work. So let's get ourselves a chest cart. So we're going to need a cart with a chest in it, and we're good to go. You know what else I'm going to want is just a little bit of track here. I don't have any regular old track. Oh well. Surprised, but oh well. What I'm going to do is configure this guy. He's currently set for complete. I'm going to do manual so it doesn't emit redstone. So right now, if I wanted to use the same cart that I was sending items, so like the cart comes in here with a bunch of items, it dumps everything into this chest, and then it heads back completely empty. What if I wanted to use the same cart to transfer a fully charged redstone energy cell back to the quarry for me? One that got charged right here. Not a problem. Check this out. If I do, instead of saying move all items, I'm going to set it to excess mode, which keeps the items in the filter, moves the rest. So let's demonstrate. I'm also going to remove this chest for a minute. Remember, everything automatically goes into the chest, but if I remove it, then in all mode, right, if there's a cart there and we place a redstone energy cell into the cart wanting to send it back, it's immediately going to be pulled out into the item hopper and sent to the chest, which would be sent to the AE system, which would be silly. So we're going to, like I said, put this in excess mode. We're going to put in the filter redstone energy cell. Now, anything that goes into this thing automatically gets pulled in, except fully charged redstone energy cells. Nice, right? So that's the plan. Now we don't have to worry. Redstone energy cells will not wind up getting pulled out of the chest. So all we have to do is load them. So I'm going to set up an item loader here that's set up like this, and I can probably just take this guy and you're coming with me. Item loader, boom, right? So he's going to be set to manual because we don't want to emit redstone. We don't want him to send the card away. We want to make sure this guy, which we're going to set back to complete mode, emits the redstone signal, right? And we don't have to worry about filters or buffers. Basically, anything that gets put into this inventory will go into the chest. Cool? So if we set this guy back to manual mode and we had the chest cart there, what we should wind up with is place an item in the buffer and it'll wind up in the chest, but it won't get pulled out if it matches redstone energy cell. Sweet. So that's step one. Step two is automatically charging the redstone energy cell. This one's a little bit harder. And a matter of fact, I'm going to configure this later, after it's empty, because I only have enough resources to make one. That's like how desperate we're getting resource-wise. So this thing will switch back to complete mode. We'll be ready to dump the redstone energy cell in here. Let's take the cart back. Hooray! Oh, it's nighttime. I probably don't want to be here. I'll sleep through the night and come back. All right, back at the quarry, what we want to do is set up a few things here. First off, we're going to want to basically dismantle all this nonsense, because I don't really need it anymore. So let's remove most of what's here. Cleaning all this up. And don't really need much of any of this, to be honest with you. Looks like there's a king slime somewhere nearby. Probably up on that island. Alright, for the time being, I don't even need these guys or this thing. Full inventory, awesome. Let's head back, clean up the inventory, and then we'll set this thing up. I don't know if I need much more energy cables, but I'm going to make a few more just to have them. Alright, so what we're ultimately going to want here is the energy cell. Remember, it's set to accept power from the bottom. We're going to make it output power to the top. I'm not going to hook it up to the inner core yet. What I'm first going to configure is how we're going to get this thing from point A to point B. So let's set that up right about now. So in order for this to work, we want to do the following configuration. We want an autonomous activator. And I'm going to place that here. And we're also going to want a terrain smasher, okay? And we're going to place that guy there. And we're going to make sure that the terrain smasher, only runs when he has a high redstone signal, and this guy only runs on a low redstone signal. And believe it or not, this thing was actually a little bit harder to set up than I thought it would be. But let's take a look. The redstone energy cell can go here. Okay, but what we want to do before we place that is first place a comparator. Comparators emit a redstone signal based on how full the energy cell is. So for example, do I have any redstone handy right here? I do. Awesome. That makes this easier to demonstrate. When there's no cell there, it doesn't emit any redstone signal. But when there is a cell there, it emits a redstone signal relative to how full the cell is. So it emits a full strength 15 when the cell's totally full, and it emits like 5 or 7 when it's half full, and it emits 0 when it's empty. So what we want to do is figure out when the state cell is empty that gets placed there. But you'll notice also, and here's where the trick part comes in, when you place it, it takes a second for it to realize it. So if we were only monitoring for empty, it would immediately remove the cell as soon as it got placed because it takes a second. So we need a little bit of a delay. That's where the state cell comes in. This thing's going to help us out a little bit, and I'm just going to extend this bridge out a little bit because we're going to need a little bit more space for this. There we go. So the state cell is going to come in here, and it's going to do the following. We're going to have this guy ready to roll, and there's actually one more thing I forgot to bring, but that's okay. We're going to configure this guy, and I'll tell you why in a minute, for, let's say, 30 seconds. Okay, and let me go get that one thing I forgot. And I want to have you guys see me make it. So let's head back here, go upstairs, access my AE system, which I'll definitely flesh out the AE system a bit shortly. But I want to make, using a saw and some smooth stone, let's do this. I want to make stone strips. No, I forgot to bring something with me. Okay. So the state cell, when it receives a redstone signal, okay, it's going to output a redstone signal to the front. And it won't start ticking until that signal that it received stops. And then it's going to wait 30 seconds and emit a pulse out the right side of this thing. So you'll see the timer slowly moving, and after about 30 seconds, it'll emit a redstone pulse. Now the pulse isn't long enough, so what we want to do is extend it using a repeater. And the timer that I came up with is 32 ticks. Okay, and what this will do is after the 30 seconds is up, it should pulse the repeater here, and then for about 1.5 seconds, it'll keep this redstone signal activated. You ready? Here goes. Cool. This all is going to get linked back to here. So let's make sure that that's done using red alloy wire instead of redstone. You'll notice, however, that this thing connects to the front of the state cell. We don't want that, so that's where this cover strip is going to come in. It's going to prevent that connection. Cool. And the same for here. We don't want a connection to this guy, so we're going to put that here. Then we can just run this over to here, 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 and here. And what this will do is when the pulse occurs, it's going to turn off the autonomous activator for a second. And then it will activate the terrain smasher for a second. And I should probably have something to put this thing in, like a chest or whatever, but I'll get that in a minute. But let's watch what happens. Actually, yeah, let me go get a chest. So we'll put the chest here. And basically what we're going to have now is the autonomous activator. We place fully charged redstone energy cells in, like so. They're going to get deployed there, right in front. And they're going to be outputting energy to the top, which will be the ender core. You'll notice that the state cell is now activated, and it's waiting for the energy cell to get depleted. Now, one downside also is that it stops emitting a redstone signal when it's nearly empty, not completely empty. That's why I have the 30-second delay there. I'm going to bring this down for 10 seconds for now so we can demonstrate. But let's go ahead and pretend like this thing lost power. So we're just going to break the comparator, which means the redstone signal goes away. After 10 seconds, it should disable the autonomous activator and turn on the terrain smasher for about a second and a half. Cool? Nice. That's what I wanted to see. And then, we'll put the comparator back. And we will place the redstone energy cell back, and it's ready to go. Sweet. So let's let this thing run for a little bit. I'm going to hook up the power. Like so. And that's fine. And you'll notice that all of a sudden, everything's running once again, right? We're getting stuff, hopefully. Yeah, stuff showing up. It's obviously clearing away a bunch of terrain over there. Yeah, I can see it in the distance. Nice. It should also be running at full speed, by the way. It's going to drain a good amount of power from the internal buffer of the energy cell. That's fine. And we'll keep an eye on this for a second. Let's see. How are you doing? Not bad. I'll come back in a minute. Looks like the ender core is filling up its internal buffer. Yeah, I'll come back in a minute here when the energy cell is nearly empty. And we can see this whole process go. Alright guys, so what you should be seeing right now is the fact that we're getting pretty low in this redstone energy cell. The ender core has a very large internal buffer of, it looks like, what is that, 10 million RF? And that's pretty much how much this thing can store. So the redstone energy cell, once it has that buffer filled, it'll be alright, but long story short, we're getting low. At a point pretty soon, let's see, we're already at 800 and something thousand. Watch the comparator here, it'll switch off there. See how it switched off before we completely ran out of power? That's why I have that 30-second delay. It's because I wanted to make sure we were completely out of power before I allow this thing to get taken away. So you'll notice here that we're quickly draining this thing out, and there we go. And we have a little bit of buffer on that 30 seconds. I might even need to make it longer, but we'll see. For now, it's sufficient. We should have gotten a bunch of resources out of that. So let's see what happens. Dun, 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 dun. There we go. And ta-da! What it should have done is taken the redstone energy cell with an empty charge and placed it in the chest behind it. Cool. There we go. That's pretty much what we want. So let's take this guy and get him over to here. Now the only thing that we're going to want to do, and I'll demonstrate this in a minute, but let's get him transported back to the main base. So we're just going to probably just tap into the existing line. So we'll just do 1, 2, 3. We'll set this thing to say extract on the green channel. Always active. There we go. And you can see he's sitting there. Now, one problem that you might notice is that he's not going to get sent back. But I plan to have a second redstone energy cell here that's going to keep the quarry going while this thing's in here waiting to be sent back to the main base. So it's not going to be a big problem. For now it is, but there we go. Also keep in mind that there's an energy buffer inside the ender quarry. So you'll note here that the ender quarry's energy buffer is currently still running because it has that much energy stored in it. Let's head back to the base and make sure we catch this guy. Oops. There you go. We'll do this. And I'll go get him manually later. Come back here, you. Thanks. Hooray! Everything's behaving now. So everything got dumped into the input chest here, right? If we take a look inside our AE system, we should have an empty redstone energy cell. Correct, we have one of them. What we're also going to want is a filter, basic item filter, that should do. And I'm going to configure this thing as follows. I want to have, right here, a similar setup. We want to have a terrain smasher and an autonomous activator and everything else. So let's put the terrain smasher here. Let's put the autonomous activator, I'll put it here so you guys can see it. And this is where the redstone energy cell is going to go, right? And we're also going to want a chest. So let's get one of those ready. For the terrain smasher to place the item in once it's full, right? So terrain smasher here, that's going to go there. Cool. Now we're going to want to make sure that any items that get pulled out of here wind up inside the autonomous activator, right? So let's run that. So we're going to set the back of this guy to import so he can put items into it. And we're going to tap into this line over here in just a moment. But first thing I want to do before I do that is configure him to be in insert mode with a basic item filter of an empty redstone cell. So let's do that. We'll put the basic item filter in here. We're going to remove these petals that we don't care about, ignore metadata, whitelist. Yeah, so it'll be a whitelist redstone energy cell priority 1, which means it has a higher priority than the chest upstairs, which is probably priority 0. I mean, if we really wanted to be sure, we can make it like priority 10. It doesn't matter as long as it's higher than anything else on the network. So now, when I hook this up, we should see that anything that lands in this chest, for example, a chest cart, should still make its way up into our AE system. And we can prove that by checking on our AE system right here. The chest cart made it into the AE system. The redstone energy cell, though, because that's in the item filter list, should make its way over to the autonomous activator. And I'm going to make sure that this guy only runs on a high signal. And when we do that, I want to make sure, I'm going to remove this cable real quick. I don't want him charging just yet, I don't think. But when we put him in there, like so, ta-da! Now, if the cable was there, it would probably act like that. And then this thing would go. Where'd you go? Where did it go? I don't know. Oh, that's weird. Why did it make its way up there? Shouldn't have done that. Oh, because it got filled. That's why. Okay. The reason is because we told it can't ignore NBT data because it's a basic item filter, and because it got placed one block lower than I wanted it to, it started to get filled up. That's basically why I didn't want it to do that. Let's drain this of energy somehow. I should have something somewhere that I can fill up with it. There we go. All emptied out. So let's take this guy out of here and try that again. So now, with a block there, let's say that was the energy cell charger thingy, place that there, and he should make its way over. And he didn't again. There must be something different with the NBT data, so let me just adjust that filter. So let's say redstone energy cell. I just have to adjust the filter, and then it should be behaving. So this is everything correct. Filter like that. There we go. Nice. That's what I wanted to see. Perfect. All right, let's configure our nifty redstone contraption here. So this one's a little bit easier to do. All we're going to have to do is the following. First, we'll have the comparator. And what we want to look for is a signal strength of like full, so like a 15 signal strength. So what we're going to want to do is the following. If we had, for example, let's get a couple things I'm going to need here. I want my screwdriver. I don't know if it's in here or if it's in the AE system. There it is. And a bit of redstone. And we've got a lever, so that's good. So what we're going to want to watch for is this. Check this out. Do I want to run it here or there? I think here is probably your best bet. So let's do this, this, and this. And if I switch this to this side, it's going to be similar to that build I did outside, where we're basically using the comparator as a subtractor. So we're subtracting a signal strength of 14 from the output of the redstone energy cell. What that means is when the redstone energy cell is outputting 15, it'll be 15 minus 14. It's a signal strength of 1, meaning it's done being charged. Okay, so in order for this to work, we also want to have a repeater because we need enough time for it to output its stuff and collect its inventory and put it in the chest. So trust me, signal strength of about 32 ticks. We don't need a state cell here this time because being full, it doesn't output the strength until it's completely full, not when it's almost full. Okay, we will want a cover strip right here to prevent this guy from connecting, and basically it's as easy as this. So we'll just run this up here onto this guy. And we will say you're running when signal strength is low, and you're running when signal strength is high. So let's check this out. When the cart comes back with an empty redstone energy cell, it's going to get deployed, and it's going to start charging, hopefully. All right, I have to actually put those cables back. Let's do that. There we go. When the cart comes back with an empty redstone energy cell, it gets deployed and starts charging up quickly. Back in a moment once it's almost full. Alright, so we're almost full here. We're about 92%, let's say, 93. Once this thing gets filled up, we should see the comparator output to this guy, the repeater, for 32 ticks, and watch what happens. Now, the reason I'm turning off the deployers, by the way, is I plan to have a second cell ready to go in there, possibly ready to go. Let's see. So that triggered on. A few seconds later, boom, break, into the chest it goes. We've got a fully charged redstone energy cell ready and waiting to get dumped into the item loader. Cool. And that's what we're going to do right now. We're just going to run this guy over to here. And there. Cool. And we're just going to say, hey, you extract without signal, or actually it should probably be always active, and we should have this guy getting pulled out into here once I configure him to be insert. Ready to go. Cool. So let's go get that cart. I broke the mine cart. Let's do that, and let's go see what's going on. Is it dark out? I should probably sleep through the night if it is. Yeah. Let me kill monsters. Alright, so real quick, what I'm going to do is force this minecart to go back and get the redstone energy cell that's sitting back there. And I'm going to set up a way to do this automatically so that if we ever do run into a situation, we shouldn't, because I'm going to have two cells going back and forth, but if we do run into a problem, we won't have to worry about it too much. Now, in order to get this energy cell, we're going to want to do something pretty similar to what we did last time. Item unloader underneath, and then we want to place our locking track back on there, and I need my crowbar, don't I? Probably. You guys come with me. There we go. I think I need the crowbar for this, don't I? Probably. Thought I had a crowbar somewhere. You know what? It might be in my tools chest. Okay, no idea where it is. Maybe this will work. If not, I'll make a new crowbar. It's funny how you just lose track of stuff sometimes. Nothing? Okay, be right back. So the item unloader, we don't want to unload anything but fully charged redstone energy cells. So we're going to set this to transfer mode, move exactly as many items or as in the filter. So I will say move items until the destination matches the filter. So I guess transfer is what we're going to want it to be. Or you know what? No, we can just leave all mode, move all matching items. So redstone energy cell is going to be in the filter there, and we're also going to, of course, make it manual so that we don't have it, kicking the cart back. So now, when the cart's sitting here, ready to accept items on behalf of the quarry, right, any items that go in there won't get moved out unless you happen to be a fully charged redstone energy cell. That's the only thing that's going to get pulled out of here and put into the buffer, which will then make its way up into the autonomous activator, which will be configured for the back to be blue. And then we can just do something swift and cool like this. Item transfer nodes. Straight over to there. Cool. We're going to disable that so it's not connecting to that block. And we'll have the item transfer node set this guy to insert and this guy to extract, always active. So now, when the cart comes back with a fully charged redstone energy cell, it's going to deploy it right here and get ready to run again. So this thing will start dumping out power. Once it's empty, it'll send the cart back. Pretty cool, right? I think that's a neat build. Now, the only thing that we want to be aware of is if we run into a situation where the cart is not full yet, but the energy cell is emptied out, how are we going to make sure the carts, let's say, go back and forth every now and then? Let's do the following. Let's just add a timer so that the cart will come back every so often, whether it's full or not. We don't have to wait for it to be full. So let's do this. Let's build a timer. Cool. And we'll tell this guy, hey, every so often, just kick the cart back for me in case he has an empty redstone energy cell that we want to let be charged. So we'll just add a timer here, and we'll set the interval to something like, every 120 seconds. Does that sound good? So every 2 minutes, the cart will go back. I can just, bring this down to every 20 seconds, and you'll see that at the end of the 20 seconds, it should send the cart back, whether it's full or not. Ta-da! Cool, right? So let's bump that up to 120 again. And then it comes back empty. Oh, that's neat. All right, let's keep an eye on this thing and make sure everything works the way it's supposed to. I'll be back when the cell's empty. So assuming I set everything up correctly, which is a pretty big assumption, but assuming I did, this should work and everything should behave the way it should right now. So let's watch. We're going to see this redstone energy cell any moment now stop emitting a redstone signal, even though it's not empty just yet, and start the 30-second timer on the state cell. So you can see we're still draining power here. We're waiting for those 30 seconds to tick off, and there we go. State cell's running. Energy cell is now officially empty. Done. State cell is getting close to being empty or finished running. And how's this timer doing? Pretty close. Got about a minute left on the timer, but I'll manually bring that down in a second just to force the cell to leave. There we go. And boom. Now the energy cell that's empty should be in the chest cart, waiting to be sent back to the base. In about 30 seconds or so, this timer will tick, sending the cart back to the base. Let's watch. Okay, I'm going to go there first. That tick should occur any moment. So let's wait here and see what happens. Come on, minecart, don't make a liar out of me. Hey, there it is. And it should get deployed there. Aw, something didn't work. Where's the redstone energy cell? It's supposed to get deployed there. It looks like it's still getting dumped into here. I don't know why it's not matching the filter, but let's do this. I'm going to real quick make an advanced item filter. That requires a Z-logic processor, huh? Should have a zombie brain, solarium. Let me make an advanced one of these guys real quick. Alright, this should prevent the problem that we ran into. For some reason, something's changing in the MBT data, but honestly, any cell that comes back from the query should be either empty or close to empty. So instead of using a basic item filter, I'll use the advanced item filter. Now I can specify to whitelist, ignore metadata, ignore MBT data, or dictionary and sticky mode I don't care about. And what we should wind up with then is anytime the energy cell goes into the cart here, should get deployed, start charging up, and then we should see what happens when we go back to the main base. All right, looks like the redstone energy cell is almost full here. It should get broken and placed into the item loader any second. Full, signal on, item loaded. Nice. So now the redstone energy cell should be waiting back there. Let's just shrink this delay, bring it back up to 1:20. Should go over, get the redstone energy cell, and come back with it. And deploy it up there. Awesome. Working beautifully. Gotta love it. All right, guys. And with that, it's unfortunately wrapping up point for the episode. So I hope you enjoyed checking this out. Could I have done this with a tesseract or a dimensional transceiver or something along those lines? Absolutely. But honestly, I had a lot of fun doing it this way. I thought it was a neat build. Definitely can use it in other places. All I really need to do is throw another empty redstone energy cell around here somewhere, and we should have a second one floating around. So it should just kind of wait. So for example, once a second full one is here, it'll be ready to deploy the moment this thing is broken. It turns off the deployer so it doesn't break the new one it places down, but then the breaker's turned off and it allows the autonomous activator to place a new one, so we're able to kind of like piggyback, right? We'll have one and then another. In fact, I'm probably going to go make one of those right now and then come back and next episode make sure that we've got everything working with 2. So for now, Direwolf20 signing off. Hope you enjoyed the episode. We will be back next time to make some other cool stuff along these lines. All right, guys. For now, take it easy.